And welcome back. We are today going to work with our selections just a little bit more, specifically to look at how we can take selections and modify them within a layer and even use them to create those selections into a new layer of their own. So, how do we do that? Well, to get started, I've made this simple 64 by 64 image and applied a very simple gradient to it. And then we're just going to grab my rectangular marquee tool here. I'm going to go ahead and just drag a random selection here. And right now, of course, we can recognize that this is a selected region. Now, if I go ahead and click and drag around right now, I can move that around. But as soon as I move this to the Move tool, and I try to grab that, you will see that it is now cut that completely out of my original background. Furthermore, even if I hadn't moved that, if I were to grab my gradient tool, and let's just say I want to choose a new gradient here, just something a little different, maybe instead of purples, I'm going to do, how about a orange, that's just stands out nice and bright, and I want to add an orange gradient in here. You will see, of course, that it only modifies that selection, which is great. But what if I wanted to go one step further? What if I wanted this gradient to be on its own layer? There are times when we want to isolate certain elements of our image, and this is one of them. So I can go ahead and right click on this image. Right now you can see I'm on the gradient tool, but if I change it to the Move tool, nothing happens. However, I, of course, can use my other tools by using selection tools. Any of my selection tools really should work here. So if I grab my marquee tool, you'll see that does it as well. Quick select does it as well there. We can, of course, have these new menu options that come up. And right from here, we can choose to change the fill, stroke, etc. We have transformation tool options. But probably one of the most useful things is layer via copy and layer via cut, or just new layer. If I click on new layer, it's going to ask me to create a new layer, which of course just is the same thing as just hitting new layer down here. So that's not necessarily too helpful to us. But if I go ahead and choose layer via copy, what it does is it will create a copy of this selection that I've created, which is great because now I have that independent thing there. I still have it on layer 1, but if I wanted to remove it completely and put it into its own layer, if I do layer via cut, what that does is it now takes and puts that selection on layer 2 only. If I look back now, if I hide layer 2, you can see we have this hole here in layer 1, which this can be very helpful if we're trying to, let's say, isolate a region and we want to work with it separately, or we want to have maybe different gradients, different effects applied into our image. So here, of course, I have two different images, and just to demonstrate how this can work, let's go back to layer 1 for a minute here. And let's just do a selection, and let's do inverse. So we select this region that is currently empty. And let's just go ahead and use the paint bucket tool to go ahead and fill that in with a color. Let's just go ahead and pick any color here. I'm just going to pick this green today. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. You can see we have this nice green in here now. It looks great. And if I, of course, hit layer 2 and hide that, you can see it's now hidden. What if I grab the Move tool and remove this selection? You can see that it is currently moving this layer because I am on layer 1, but if I click layer 2, that other region is still there. And so it can be very helpful when we're looking at moving different components, shading different things into different layers. So what I want you to do is go ahead, play around with this, do a couple different selections, add a couple of different shapes of your own, maybe set different gradients, and I'll come back to you in just a minute here and let's see what you make. And welcome back. I went ahead and made this quick and simple pattern here with just using nothing but gradients and of course a couple different layer selections here, all from this initial layer that we had started with where we had removed this one sector from. So again, pretty powerful feature that we can use in order to enhance our images.